adding power to our scripting. In this video, we're going to take a look at what variables are and see what we can use them for. Variables are used to store data and act as placeholders for either static or dynamic data, and they themselves can contain any type of data. You store them within each separate dashboard, and they can be referenced anywhere within that dashboard, so within the script or within any expressions. You can set them in two ways, either in the script or directly in variable overview, and we'll have a look at both of those. To assign them in the script, you use set or let, and they both work slightly differently. So set assigns the value to the variable, as you'd expect. Let works slightly differently. It calculates what is to the right of the equal sign first, and then assigns that value into the variable. What do we use them for? So I would traditionally use them for things like file locations, so I'm not hard coding directories in every load. Also to set our standard colours, so I don't have to remember what the RGB is. I can just call it a sensible name and reference that. And if I'm using the same expression over and again, I'll put that into a variable as well, so I can reference it directly. And then if I need to change that expression, I've only got one place to change it in. And sometimes we'll use it as part of a set analysis expression to make it more readable. So what we're going to do, we're going to use a variable for file locations, and I'll show you how that works. We're going to set some standard colours for our objects. We're going to replace the expression in a chart with variable, and we're going to change the red and green colour on our dashboard page. So we'll hop over and do the demo. Here's our dashboard. If you open up in source directory, there's a text file called variables.txt. If you open that up, and you'll see all our let and set commands. If you highlight all of that and copy it, we're going to paste that into our script. So into the edit script, and on the main tab, underneath all these other set statements, we paste it in there, and you can see I've got things like some different colours, the location of files, and a couple of expressions as well. So I'll show you how to use that vSource data variable. If I click over to the Facts tab, you'll see I've already added one in here. So instead of referring to source data slash, I put $ open brackets vSource data close brackets. So that means whatever's inside that variable is what gets substituted in there. So I click OK, and we'll reload that and make sure it works. And all's good so far. So we're now going to change some of our colours. So if I right click on the list box, store name, and go to properties, if I look at the background colour and click on the rectangle underneath that, I get this colour area pop up. At the moment it's a fixed colour. I'm going to change it to be a calculated colour. So I click on the three dots next to it. I then go into the edit expression. If I click on the variables tab, you can then see all the variables we've already created. And the one we want is vCaption colour. So I'll paste that into there, click OK, and you'll see we've now got a blue colour in there. So I'll do the same for the text colour. So I'll just type this one direct in. As you see, as you start typing, the list shows you what's available, and I know it's vText on. So I'll click on that, click OK. So that's now set my inactive caption, but I want it to be the same whether it's inactive or active. So I could repeat the process, but what I'll do instead is I'll right click on the background colour and do copy, and then right click on the active caption and do paste, paste all, and repeat for the text. I click OK. I've now got it set how I'd like. I could repeat that for all the objects, but what I'm going to do instead is I click on it and then click on the format painter. I can then copy that to all the other objects. Now I'm not going to repeat that for everything on the video. I'll leave you to do that yourselves. So that's those two things done. Now we're going to look at the colours, the red and green. So I go into the gauge and go into the properties of that. You see in the presentation, if I click in there, and I put in VRED. And if I same for green, I put a calculated colour of V green. So that's changed the colours. And the same on the bar chart. The colours for the bar chart, if you remember, are just below that plus for sales. See the background colour, and you're seeing there, instead of referring to light green and light red as it did earlier, I've now put in instead V green and V red. And I can change those colours in the script at any time, and they'll change will automatically reflect there. Final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a variable to the expression list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this expression for sales. If I copy it, so Control C into my clipboard. If I then go up to the settings and go to the variable overview, and you can see all the variables we've set in the script, I'm going to add one manually in here. So I'll click add and give it a name. If I call it V this year and click OK, you'll see there it's there at the bottom of the list. I'm going to give it a definition, and the definition is the expression I'd like to use. So if I paste that in, and you'll see there, that's the expression. What I can then do is go into any of the charts that use that expression, and I'll go back to the one I just copied it from, and instead of putting that expression in, I can do $open brackets V this year. If I click OK on that, nothing changes, but it's using that expression instead. And I can replicate that throughout the dashboard. Then if something does change about how we calculate this year, I've only got to change it in one place and it'll automatically reflect. So I'll hit save, and it's all gone through.